What does today mean? What is pulling that off? That the overall getting this team into the playoffs when
2%, wasn't it? 2% chance.
Five. Yeah.
Coffee
A bit more generous.
It got down to 50, didn't it, by the time we kicked off?
I tipped you on air last night.
Did you?
I did say.
You were the one.
Yeah.
You were the only
one.
one.
The punts. I said,
See,
the
I like
Good
that. Blind
odds.
faith. Love a bit of blind faith.
Go on, what does it mean?
I think it's, well, you know, not trying to be too blasé about it, it's progress, right? First and foremost, and double figure wins, you know, in and around, you know, making the next steps up. And I know people look at me strangely around that on the backdrop of other conversations that you've probably had in different regions, but I've said from the start that we'll make the best out of it, we'll find a way to be the best we can be and see the opportunity in everything. And I think it's I think the achievement cements that as a good mindset and attitude as the group, and the praise goes to the playing group, the strength and conditioning group, the medical group, the supporters. You know, it's as much for them because, you know, it's a rough journey and there's plenty of reasons why not, and we've found enough throughout the season to basically say, yeah, this is what we're going to try and do. Look, it could have easily gone the other way today, you know, and that would have been a ruin. It wouldn't have been about today. It would have been those missed opportunities for Benetton away and Glasgow at home and Munster, you know, and bits and pieces. So I think on the balance of it, it's a reward for being how competitive we've been.
Were you watching the results unfold?
No.
Last night?
Yeah, last night, yeah. I mean, we talked about that as a group because, you know, players all want to know. So, you know, obviously I had a couple of sort of speeches, if you like, prepared which way, what we were going to need. And because, you know, you need to be emotional about it. And I thought the credit to the players, you know, obviously it was easier and we talked about what was on the line and bits and pieces, but we just tried to normalise it as much as we could, and you know, and then there's the sentiment around, you know, Nicky and Alex Cuthbert and the people who we've got that, and but ultimately the big driver that was driven by Justin Tipperick throughout the last month was around this group will never be the same again. So if all else fails, we're a tight bunch group, so we'll do it for each other, and I think that probably encapsulates what we're all about.
The Welsh region hasn't been in the playoffs for quite a while.
2018.
2018. So how significant is that? Especially this year, we thought no one had a chance. So how significant is it that you've ended that way?
Well, I think on the backdrop of all this, you know, well-documented stuff around the financial state of the game and what's happened to a lot of established players and various, I think it is significant. Yeah, I think from that point, not necessarily been the first region since 2018. That's just facts, and I understand why you mentioned what we do. But for us, for me, I can only control or influence the stuff that I've been involved in from 2020, and we set out on a mission, as I said, and you've heard me say it 100 times. You know, as of the players, that will, you know, play a brand of rugby that hopefully people enjoy and playing and watching. We said we represent the work ethic of the people we represent, and we said that we'd grow our own players. And I think we've done that, you know, on the whole. Not been perfect, still plenty to do, still plenty to move forward. Like I said, around win, lose or draw, there's a learning in everything. But I think the fact that we stuck true to that as a sentiment of what we did from post-COVID means we probably had a decent amount of young players that had probably had a little bit more game time, maturity, etc. And so they're probably a little bit more ready for, you know, pushing forward.
And on this final weekend, the way you needed results to go, you know, it was out of your control, but you needed things to fall into place. You know, you mentioned at the start 2% chance. What did you think your chances were at the start of this on Friday afternoon?
I'm an optimist, you know that. Despite my face of grumpiness, as my wife calls it.
I was going to say, that's not a face of optimism.
It is. No, it's not. It certainly is not. But inside, you know, there's an optimist trying to get out. But no, I think that what are we doing it for? If you don't believe it, what are we doing it for? We want a positive experience. You know, sport's hard, sport's cruel. You know, you don't always get what you deserve. But if you work hard enough for long enough, you'll keep loading the dice in your favour and you give yourself a chance. And I think that we've done that well this year. You know, as I said, we talked about the backdrop of change and where we've gone. You know, we had a little bit of a setback last year, I think, and it was very, very difficult emotionally after coming out of Europe against Sarries. And I thought the last 2 games were very, almost, you know, we'd been punched out a little bit against the ropes. But that experience for those young players that are still around means they're more resilient for this time. And we weren't ready then, even though we had the same opportunity 2 games before last time. But this time, the stats or the outcome means, you know, we've become a top 8 team for the first time. And you know, and since I've been here, and I think that's a credit, as I said, to everyone that's been involved.
Jock, you said it was
What do you look at now, those playoffs? How do you approach them?
Well,
what do you tell the players? All on?
Well, yeah, again, why not? I mean, we know it's really difficult, and I know that every coach reads every other coach's press conference and bits and pieces for the little gem, but when it gets to knockout rugby, you know, it's about who delivers on the day. You know, we are still as depleted as we ever, and you look at some of the, but we've got what we've got, and we'll do what we can. You know, and if we can look in the mirror and be proud of the stuff that we do, then that'll be progress, because we've gone like we did last year in Europe, like we did knockout game in Europe this year for the first time. We've moved the dial a little bit, but progress in sport is very, very difficult, very, very competitive. So we just got to keep swinging for the fence.
Yeah, it's all left, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Friday night in Munster. But you'd rather be in it than not. You know?
Jockey said that was a great advert for Welsh Rugby, the game. Were you able to enjoy it?
Yeah, I agree. I think 2 teams were very positive about what they're doing. I mean, to be fair play to Cardiff, we know that are very competitive. I like the style of rugby that Jockey's team play. I think that, you know, for me, you know, that they are very positive, and we found that very difficult to deal with in the first 40 minutes, especially when we couldn't, you know, attain enough field position, really. So I think from that point of view, you know, you have to give Cardiff all the credit, but there's a reason they've got the losing bonus points they are. They're a competitive team that are well coached, and we knew it wasn't going to be easy. But on the day, it's about who wins key moments, and their want couldn't be greater than ours. That's what we talked about, and I'm not saying it was or it wasn't, but ultimately when it gets tough, that's what you draw on. You don't draw on what line-out plays you played on Tuesday. You draw on what it means to you and what's at stake.
You know Mr. Roundtree well, and you played Munster recently, and they've had 9 wins in a row. Now they've done it again as they did last season. What's the biggest thing when you face a Munster team you've got to deal with?
You've got to deal with the occasion first and foremost, and that'd be the same in any, you know, in any knockout game. You have to deal with the occasion first and foremost, and then secondly you have to be, you know, right on it, because as the stakes get higher, the need to execute becomes, you know, less forgiving. You know, we spoke at half time. This one is, you know, there's no second chances here now, and that makes it tough.
I mean, is pride the biggest thing you're feeling at the moment?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I said on record talking about one of the things that we wanted to do as a group was to earn respect, and hopefully we've done that. That's for other people to answer. You guys seem to, you know, think we've done a bit of that. So I think respect, you know, a sense of pride and an achievement, because even though there'll be, you know, doubting Thomases that will go, oh yeah, but you've only got to this and got to that, but, you know, you've got to keep taking steps forward. You've got to keep wanting to take steps forward. So celebrate every little victory you can, because it puts, you know, energy in the tank to want to keep doing it, because it's tough.
Win the league and you get in the Champions Cup, it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, not probably thinking about that too much. But I do love your optimism.
Yeah.
I do.
3 wins there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well done.
I mean, just on Munster, I think, you know, I'm a record. I think, you know, they're the best team in the comp. I know Leinster would dispute that, but, you know, if you think they finished top, they've won what they've won, and they're the defending champions. So, you know, factually, it's the right thing to do. So there's a reason one plays 8, but we're looking forward to it.
You said you're going to win.
It's very decent of John. I might need a couple of his players after the, but no, that's very decent of him. And I think that the one thing I probably would say is, this season from a Welsh point of view, which is really important, is there's been much more collaboration between regions, much more finding a way to work together more successfully to overcome some of the challenges, and I think that can only be a good thing.
Say obviously these knockout occasions you have to turn up. You've had 2 of those already this year. One went your way, one didn't. You almost harness both those, Brewery Field and the King's Own experience heading into this one.
Yeah, I think we've got test match players, so it's not as simple as everyone has to turn up. It's you need to deliver a high quality performance in the position you play, and if you do that better than the person opposite you, you're probably going to be in with a shout. It still sometimes comes down to key moments, right? So we can't afford as many key moments that we let out of our grass today, but that's the standard.
Edwards, very good performance today.
Yeah, very good. Still got blisters. But my dad would have had him in white spirit already by now. But no, he's a young player. They asked me this on TV, and I think that the more he's in that position as the quarterback, the better it'll be for him. The great thing I can say about Dan is he doesn't get fazed by it too much. And what I love about him is, apart from obviously he's got talent, he's got pace and bits and pieces, and he actually plays the game. He's got the personality for the role, and no one's under any doubt if you're a youngster coming into that team, or you are a seasoned pro or a British Lion. Everyone knows that the quarterback is the quarterback, and I think that bodes well for his future.
The plan always to be in training on Monday? That was the long-term plan that you
had?
The
plan was a celebration awards dinner tomorrow, so that's been shelved. Now we've found it's a Friday night game, so we've got to have to adjust a few little things. But hey, I'd much rather it be that way, And you need to go into these things fresh, and today comes at a cost. Got a lot of boys, got a lot of minutes, so we need to be respectful of that, and we need to have high energy going into it. And yeah, we're really looking forward to it, because if you don't, as I said before, if you don't enjoy it, then what's the point?
And the award has been shelved?
It's been shelved, yeah. Yeah, we shelved that. Yeah. We'll bump that down the road some other time.
So with the sole Welsh representative in the playoffs, would you like to see the other fans of other regions sort of get behind the Ospreys and wish you well?
I said I was an optimist. No, I would. I think that, as I said, part of that is we have to show the way. I understand there's a deep-rooted sentiment around regions and the club game. I understand how parochial and tough it is. I do, and I'm not obviously the person that's going to change that. But what I would say is, the more that we look at us as one and against Scotland, Ireland, I think it's good for the game. I think it's good for Welsh rugby, and I think we can learn from each other. And the good thing is the collaboration I talk about. I think as coaches we are, without doubt, sharing more. And there's a desperation obviously to beat them. Welsh derbies are what they are, and I'm never going to undermine that. But I think our attitude to it is, and it's been frowned upon, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, is we're just trying to be a top 8 team. We're looking up. We're going to try and look up the best we can. People think I'm mad. It's going to get tougher. More money's coming off next year. But we've got to keep looking up, rather than being best of the rest. And one next year it might be Cardiff, might be Scotland, might be someone else. And if they do it, then the table doesn't lie. But for now, we're in that position, so we'll enjoy that. But I think that if we can muscle up together, that's a good wishful thinking, mate. The fact that you all smirked would tell me that it's very wishful thinking.
You're going to change the mantra on your notebook now, 2%?
Maybe. Well, 5. It's not the 1%ers from Dave Brailsford, it's the 5%ers. No, it'll always be the same, boys. Find a way.